Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Getting to Grips, and I'm your host for today. So, if you don't know me, the name is Sherwin Pather. I'm based out in Durban. I am a Godox SA brand ambassador, and my job today is to tell you about one of my favorite products from the Godox range. It's something that I've been using for a while now, and it's definitely one of my favorite products. It's in fact my favorite strobe. It's a powerful little strobe, and it's something that has actually put Godox on the map for some time now. So, if in case you do not know what it is, I've got it right here. It's the Godox AD200. So if you are watching, do drop me a comment. Let me know that you are watching. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd like to obviously give you a shout out. If you have any questions as I go into it, I'll be sure to answer them. But yeah, as I was saying, one of the most favorite products, or one of my most favorite products from Godox is the AD200. It's a powerful little strobe. It's a strobe that came out back in 2017. It's pocket sized. You can cover most of your scenarios with it. Most of what you would like to shoot, you can cover with the AD200, and it's definitely something to talk about. So let's go into it. I'm actually going to open this up quickly so I can show you exactly what my AD200 looks like. Okay, so this is the AD200. As you can see, it comes in an awesome bag. This is quite robust. So whenever you're carrying it along, because it's so compact, they were able to put it inside of a case that's quite strong. As you can see, it's quite solid, eh? And you're able to carry this thing here on location, deep into the bush, as I usually go, close to rivers. Don't drop it in a river, it's not waterproof. So what comes in the bag? So you've got your AD200 lithium ion pack battery. It's one off. You get your charger. You get the first head that comes with it. This is the Fresnel head, as you can see here. The second head that does come with it is the bare bulb flash. So this is it. And what you would need to put on that is this bulb. Okay, so you put this bulb onto that, and then from there you're able to attach that to the AD200. So what do I like so much about the AD200? First of all, it's 200 watts of power. 200 watts of power on location, definitely awesome. You're able to light up most of your scenarios if you're looking to shoot subjects out on location. With the lithium ion pack, you're able to get 500 full shots of power. So full power shots, 500 of which I usually shoot at like 1/2 of the power. If you're able to understand exactly how to use the light, you can maximize it and get even more shots out of the AD200. So with Getting to Grips, what we wanted to do is obviously showcase some of the products that we do have. And what I did notice is many of the people on our market, although these products are out there and there's hundreds of tutorials. So this is not a tutorial. Let's just get that straight. This is not a tutorial on how to use the AD200, but this is an informative session so that you can get to see how I use the AD200, especially on location. So, for example, a friend of mine last week contacted me, and he asked, in fact, he recently purchased the AD200, and he asked me an awesome question. What he wanted to know is a simple thing as to when to use the Fresnel head, which is this head here, this one. He wanted to know when to use the Fresnel head and when to use the bare bulb flash. And it got me thinking. I'm saying to myself, wait, man, do people know exactly when and how to use these products? So I did obviously contact the guys at Godox SA, and we planned this session. Because I've spent so much of time with the Godox AD200, I am definitely the person that can be able to share this information. So how I use the Godox AD200. So whenever I'm shooting on location, and if I'm shooting with an attachment, if I've got a modifier, I would best go with the bare bulb flash. Okay, so this is an omnidirectional bare bulb flash, as you can see here. all right? So you are able to shoot in all directions. That's 180 degrees here of all directions, 360 degrees to this, inside of a modifier. For example, if you're going to use a softbox, or if you are going to use a beauty dish, or if you want to put this inside, maybe you want to reflect off an umbrella and you have a diffuser on the umbrella. So this would be your best bet. Okay, so you would want to go for the bare bulb flash. The reason being is because this maximizes the amount of spread you're getting. Plus, in this, you are getting specular light. So if you put this inside of your softbox, you're getting maximum spread of your light within the softbox, and you are able to obviously cover so much more light. You're able to maximize the 200 watts of power that you are getting from your AD200. So definitely use this if you want to use an attachment, if you want to use, as I said, one of your diffusers, or if you want to use any one of your soft boxes, definitely go for this. Okay, so that's it. That's what I wanted to say. And then also another trick that I use this for, like if I am shooting maybe an event of a sort, what I do is I put something like this here. I try and obviously prop it up, face it upwards, and from there I can obviously get a spread of light that's even throughout the whole place. So omnidirectional, that's the main thing you need to remember about that one. Omnidirectional. Okay, so meaning the light spreads in all directions. Okay, whereas well with the Fresnel head, the Fresnel head is actually one directional. It's a very focused light attachment. So the same way that your speed light would work, that's how the Fresnel head works. So what it does is it takes the light and it focuses it in one direction, or it focuses in the main direction, which is forward. So if you want to throw all of that light in a singular direction, you would use a Fresnel head. So for example, if you are shooting like at maybe in a hall, a really big hall with a high ceiling, and you want to obviously get a nice, if you want to pick up the ambience in the place, and you want to obviously raise up the lighting. So what you would do is, in my case, I would use a Fresnel head like this. I would bounce it off the nearest wall, or I would bounce it off maybe the ceiling. So what you can do is you can face this in the upward direction on your AD200. So you see how easy that is to put on. So you'd face it in an upward direction and you'd be able to pick up the ambience in the place. All right, so that's how I use the Fresnel head. So I wouldn't really put the Fresnel head inside of an attachment like your soft boxes, or like your modifiers, like your umbrella or softbox, or even a beauty dish, because it's one directional. Yes, maybe in a beauty dish it'll work with the deflector plate. If you're forced to, yes, you can do it. Likewise, even if you're putting it inside of a softbox, maybe with a double diffusion in the softbox, it would work, because it's going to hit the first diffusion point, it's going to spread out, and then hit the second diffusion panel. However, if you're using, like, if it's just one diffusion point, then you're going to get the light focus more on the center of the softbox, and you're going to end up getting hot spots on your subject. So try your best not to use the Fresnel head, I would say, inside of a modifier of sort. So I always use the Fresnel head as a bare flash if I want to use bare flash. Like for example, even if you set up something in the hall, and if you want to have that light to face just the podium, where the people obviously give their speeches, that would give you a beautiful image. That will give you some stunning images, because you're getting directional light coming in just to that specific point, and you are getting really stunning images. But however, you must remember, because you are using directional light, and if it's bare flash, you must remember you must control your power so that you don't overexpose your images. You have to be able to understand how light works, and you must understand obviously the distance to the subject. So you can't have a high power at a close distance. So that's one thing to obviously note. But what I'm going to do in this session is I'm going to show you how I use my AD200. Okay, so I have owned the AD200Pro previously. It's a beautiful light, amazing light. And now I own the AD200. I'll do also on the 8600, but today's episode is not about the 8600. Maybe a different or another ambassador will cover that for you all. But today I'd like to talk about the AD200. As I said, it's a very versatile light. It's a light with the most amount of attachments that you have at the moment. There's pretty much there's so many functions that you can do with use the AD200. I think when they dropped the AD200 in 2017 and to date, it is definitely Godox's most successful strobe on the market. It's outsold every product that they've had. And there's pretty much been no response from any of the other brands to the AD200 and how amazing it's been. So it's pocket size. So literally, this is all it is. This could fit inside your pocket. Okay, so it's not as small as the AD100, which is beer can size, but the AD200 is definitely quite small. So it's not too heavy. It's just right. And 200 watts in this sort of a form factor with this price point, you'll probably not get this anywhere else. So I'm going to go into some of the pictures that I've put together and some of the images that I've set up just to show you how I've used the AD200 in the past 2 or 3 years or so. But one more thing also. So if you're looking to obviously use the AD200, but if you want to obviously really rack up on the power, this is something that I've at times informed and advised other photographers to use. I've definitely told them, if you do buy one AD200, at some stage maybe buy a second AD200. First reason, if you shoot events, it will assist you because you are able to light up a really large space with more AD200. So I would put maybe 2 or 3 AD200s in a hole that's really big. I can easily light up one section of the hole and light up the other section of the hole using 2 or 3 AD200s. With more AD200s, you can light up the stage area where the bride and the groom may be set, depending on the type of wedding that you're shooting. And in the big thing about buying that second AD200 is this baby that I have here. Okay, so this is the AD200 bracket. Okay, so this is also made by Godox. This is supplied and made by Godox. It's really inexpensive if you look at it. However, what this baby does is you are able to take 2 AD200s, rack them together or pack them together on this, and you're able to get 400 watts of power. So if you need to challenge the sun, or if you may be shooting in broad daylight, or maybe if you want to do a sunrise shoot and you want to get some really stunning images, then this right here is it's amazing, absolutely amazing, I would say. There's a friend of mine that I actually interviewed last week. His name is Kenlan. He's in the comments right here. Kenlan, how are you doing? I know you love this light. So Kenlan is actually he's a very, very big fan of this light, of this attachment, the Godox AD200. So I'm going to show you quickly how it goes together. It's actually really quick. So what you would do is you take the Fresnel head off. So how easy that is. You'd put this on the back of this, so it slips in there, and that locks into place. That's the one AD200 that's on there. Okay, so what you would then do is you can actually take the second AD200 that will lock into place here. All right, so that's next to this. It will lock into place, and then from there, all you do is you just take the bulb. Yes, second. And you put the bulb on. So there's 2 bulbs that you will put on, and that's 2 AD200s. That's 200 watts times 2, and you are able to control them individually using your trigger. So that's 400 watts of power. And then remember, the nice part about this is balance mount. So there's a host of attachments that you can actually fit to this attachment using the balance mount. So most of your soft boxes, like one of my favorites, which is the QRP 90 and the QRP 120, you can fit those soft boxes directly to this. So you can get 400 watts of power in 120 centimeter softbox. Stunning light. So look at that. It's something that you'll definitely enjoy. As I say, so this is this is life, I promise you. So if you are heading towards something like a 8600, this is obviously the journey that you would take. In fact, if you do have two 8200s and if you're using the ADB2, 400 watts of power is more than enough to cover most of the scenarios that you may face. So if you really want to obviously pack up that power, do get the ADB2 bracket. Okay, so I'm going to go into some of the images and show you obviously some of the reasons why I really like the AD200. I'd like to show you how I use it for some of my shoots. Maybe in a different session, I would be able to show you exactly how I use the AD200 in some of the events that I shoot. But for today, I'm going to keep it simple, short and sweet. I'm going to show you how I use it for my location shoots. Okay, so let me just share the screen with you quickly. Okay, so as I was telling you, there's many attachments for the AD200. You've got your Fresnel head that I showed you already, very directional, very focused light. I wouldn't suggest you use it inside any of your modifiers or attachments. I wouldn't suggest that because it's a very directional light. If you want to use it, you would usually go bare flash, bounce it off the nearest wall or bounce it off the ceiling. There's the bare bulb flash that I told you about. It's omnidirectional. So remember, those two attachments are included when you buy the AD200 or the AD200Pro. Comes with that unit. So I told you the bare bulb flash is actually omnidirectional, so you are able to spread light. I would best suggest you use the bare bulb flash, flash head inside of a modifier. So it's really not that nice if you want to obviously shoot it alone by itself, because it's really not going to give you focused light as you may want it. But if you are looking to pick up ambience in a room or on a location, but in a room or maybe in a venue of sort, you can use the AD200 bare bulb flash head just to pick up ambience. But as I said, you're not going to be able to bounce light with that bare bulb flash. Okay. The one good thing about the Fresnel head as well is it's got a it's got a modeling lamp that's on it. So it's got LEDs on it that operate as a modeling lamp, but the bare bulb flash does not have a modeling lamp. A good thing also about the ADB2 bracket, it comes with two modeling lamps on it. There's two LEDs that are on this here that operate obviously as modeling lamps. So if you do require a modeling lamp, the modeling lamp is really nice if you want to shoot a night shoot of sort and you need obviously assistance with focusing. You can put the modeling lamp on and you can obviously assist with focusing and you can get that shot that you're looking to get. With the round head flash that you see over there, it's called the H200R. It's an amazing light. What I do notice with that as well, also very directional light, same as your Fresnel head. It's pretty much the same type of head that you would get on your V1. It's a very flattering, you get very flattering light there because it's coming from a natural round light source and not like your normal Fresnel. The Fresnel is more rectangular, whereas well with your round head flash, it's a round, more natural light source. So when I say natural light source, you must remember the sun is round. So when you're getting light spread from a round source, it's very flattering and different from your normal harsh Fresnel rectangular head. So that's also very nice. And the good thing about the H200R is there's the A2R1 kit that can fit on that. So there's the barn door that fits on that. There's a grid that fits on that. There's some gels that fits on that. That's also provided and supplied by Godox. You can actually get it at the Godox SA page. It fits the H200R and it fits the V1. So you can definitely use that really nicely. So there's quite a bit of attachment. So if you want to use gels, and if you want to use the barn door, if you want to use a grid, you would get the H200R. They do have obviously for the Fresnel head as well, but that's something that you have to obviously use a nylon strap on, and it's you strap it, and it's not as easy and simple as the H200R because the H200R has a magnetic head. So when you're putting the gel on, it's literally a magnetic head that you can just clip on and clip off. So it's actually quite easy. Then you've got the ADL that you've got. That's the LED light that's sold separately. The H200R is also sold separately. The ADL is basically, you can use it as an LED light. So you've got 200 watts of LED light that's available, and you can quickly use it for full light and stuff like that. Also a really good light, and it's also good for like if you want to do video and stuff, video work. Not really so much for photography, unless you're doing maybe like food photography of sorts. So if I'm going to go into my okay, just to show you what I wanted to show you, look at this. So in this case over here, I've actually shot this using two AD200s. You can see what I did is I set the model to the right hand side there near the door. I noticed that the door actually gave off some really nice red tones. Directly next to that was some objective colors, which was a blue tone. And I put the model up next to that there, and from the left coming down at a 45-degree of her, I put two AD200s inside this amazing light. I told you this was the exact light that I used to light this up. So it was two AD200s in an AD200 bracket with the QRP90 softbox. The QRP90 softbox is absolutely amazing, guys. If you're going to be using an AD200 by itself, you'd obviously use it with the S2 bracket. You put the AD200 inside the S2 bracket, and you attach the QRP90 directly to the S2 bracket, or even the S1 bracket. The Godox S1 bracket also would work really nice. So that the S2 bracket was made for the round head, like the H200R head, and also the V1 head. Those two heads fit inside the S2 bracket. So as you can see, this was actually simply lit up. It was just two AD200s. That's 400 watts of power. I may have had this at like 1/8 of the power. And I've had that coming in from the left, as you can see, with the model 200. I've just put up some of the details over there that you can actually check it out, the EXIF data, just so that you don't ask those questions in the comment section. But yeah, this was actually a really good shot. This is literally edited in Lightroom, so there's no advanced editing on this one here. I just wanted to showcase it and show you exactly how I shot this. So if you're taking into consideration how to use your flash, I would definitely say expose for the background. This is a technique that so many of the photographers that use off-camera flash, it's the first thing that they tell you. Expose for the background, make sure that you get enough colors. So like if you can see on the left-hand side, you can still see some of the blues and the reds from the further side of the wall, and then coming into obviously where she's lit up, and then obviously the light that's cast onto her, casting shadow onto the wall. But you make sure that the shadow is flattering and not too harsh. Like in this case, remembering if you have to use a light source that's large, the larger the light source, the more softer the light is going to be on the subject. So what you would then do is bring in your softbox as close as possible to the model, so you're going to get a larger light source. So whereas, well, if you took that further away from her, it becomes smaller. You understand? The light would become more harsh, and the definition of the shadows on her chin and on her neck would have been a little bit more harsh. The transition between shadow and light would have been very sharp, a very sharp point of transition. So you bring the light as close as possible where you can still get the shot that you want, and you get this kind of a shot. So as I said, shot to two AD200s, the ADB2 bracket, the QRP90 softbox, and this was actually one of really amazing images that I shot. It's currently up on the Godox International User Group banner. A really, really nice one. This was when I actually got the chance to shoot the XH2S, the Fujifilm XH2S. It was really nice. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next one. Okay, so this was in studio. I wanted to show you some of the studio work that I've done as well using the AD200. In this case, also, I wanted to have some really high-powered lights. So what I did was same setup, ADB2 with the two of the AD200s, and that was inside the QRP90, as you can see. Softbox that was on the left on the subject. I had a V1 in an 80 by 90 softbox, and that's pretty much the same softbox that's lighting me up now. However, for this particular shot that you see over here, I didn't use the V1. I literally switched the V1 off for that moment, which is why you can see her shadow on the right-hand side of the wall there behind her. I didn't want to use the V1 at that moment. I do have some pictures, obviously, with that V1 shot. I'm just indicated it there to show you exactly what it was. There's a third light that's over there, but I didn't use that. There was actually someone that was assisting me that day, and he came through with that light. So that was not used. So the main light that's lighting up this picture that you can see right now is the AD200 with the ADB2 bracket. So as I said, times two AD200s and the ADB2 bracket. And that's with the QRP90 softbox. So F11. So whenever I'm shooting in studio, I'm barely shooting below F8. 250th of a second, ISO 200. Shot this on an X-T3 with a 16-55, and this is a stunning image. As you can see, I used the light, and in fact, I actually wanted to get that lighting in the background. So if you can see the transition, that's pretty much a spotlight that was on her. And I was able to get that because obviously I shot at a very high aperture as well. So this was a stunning shot that I managed to get. So you can actually use the AD200 in studio. It's a very, as I said, 200 watts of light on a flash. It's pretty much more than what you need, especially in studio. Maybe on location, yes, you'd probably want to obviously get a high-powered light, or maybe a stronger powered light. But if you understand the inverse square law, and if you understand exactly how light works when distance from subject, so just a side note, something that you can learn quickly and put it to your knowledge. The difference between the AD200 and the AD400 is a stop of light. One stop between the AD200 and AD200 and the AD400. If you have to bring your AD200 in the softbox or in the attachment that it's using slightly closer to your subject, you can make up for that one stop of light difference. So technically speaking, with technique, and this is something that I teach in the workshops that I do, understanding the inverse square law. So if you want to understand strobes and if you want to understand lighting, I would definitely suggest that you go and do your research on the inverse square law of lighting. So it's a simple thing of where understanding that light and its intensity is increased the closer it is from the subject. So the closer, like for example, I've got a light on the side of me, the closer I get this to me, the more intense the light becomes. The further I get that light away from me, the less intense that light gets. So pretty much it. So if you can understand the inverse square law of light, then you can obviously use your strobes and maximize them to the best of its ability and the best of what they are made for. So you can technically, and as I've done before, I've shot in broad daylight and I've shot in sunrises with just a normal flash, just a speed light. So some of the best images I've collected and I've done was with just the AD200 or just a speed light. Yes, now I do have something that's making my life so much easier, 600 watts of power, the AD600. However, very earlier on with off-camera flash, I've used the AD200 and I've used the standard speed lights. So if you can actually understand that what I just told you, the inverse square law of light, you can maximize those lights and you can get some really stunning images. So understand that the closer it is to a subject, the more intense the light is. And if you have it on a big modifier, so the bigger your modifier, the more softer the light is going to be. Okay, learn that. Okay, this is also in studio that I shot this. It was pretty much the exact same setup. Two of your AD200s and ADB2 bracket. And I just wanted to showcase that you can actually use the AD200 in studio. This was a stunning shoot that I did with a model that's based in Durban. And this was just a white background, but purely because I had the distance from the background and I didn't have a light lighting up that background, I was able to make it more gray. You can do that, understanding light, you can trick and play around with it. So if you see the image on the left, yeah, that was obviously lit from the right. The one also on the right, lit from the right. The one on the furthest right here was lit from the left. Just as I said, ADB2 two AD200s, XH2S that I was testing. I think it was the same week that I shot that other image that I was showing you earlier. Okay, so this is what I was trying to tell you. Understanding that if you understand the inverse square law, this is the kind of results you get. Okay, so this was shot at high speed sync, and if you understand high speed sync, HSS as they call it, it's a very taxing technique where your camera obviously shoots at a very high shutter speed. As you can see, this was shot in 3,200th of a second. That's what this was shot at. This was shot at f2, and I was using the 35mm f1.4 and the f1.4 prime. I shot this at f2, and because I brought the light in so close to where the model was, and by the way, that's her boyfriend that's holding the light for me. That's what I do. So whenever I get the assistants, I try and get them to just obviously carry the light for me. So I got the light in as close as possible to her. This was pretty much butterfly lighting, as you can see by the results in the image. Directly above her with a 65cm softbox. This was just the AD200Pro. And at high speed sync, I was able to get this purely because I understand the inverse square law of lighting. It's something that I can't drill more. If you come to any one of my workshops, of which I'm having one on Saturday, I will definitely show you exactly what I mean by the inverse square law of lighting. Okay, so this was shot on the XH1 with the 35mm f1.4, and I shot it at 3,200 of a second. And this is an amazing image that I got. Okay, AD200 as well, 65 centimeter octobox. If you know, when I was using a lot of my AD200 Pro at the time, I was using their 65cm softbox, 65cm octobox, just to obviously because of the size, form factor. I have now moved over to the QRP90, of which I prefer the QRP90. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's just right. It's a good, comfortable size. I would suggest like maybe for the AD200 alone, I would suggest maybe like the QRP70. QRP70 would be a very good size for the AD200, just enough. With technique, you can actually cover the whole subject. As I said, it takes technique. You have to understand exactly how you want to obviously light up your subject. So with technique, you can actually get you can cover the whole subject quite easily. But you can actually mess it up with a smaller light source. So like if you're using a 65 to 70 centimeter, you can make a mistake and just light up maybe half the body. So technique is required. This was shot on location at Paradise Valley, shot with the model, 200 of a second f8, ISO 400 XH1, and stunning result as well. So this was lighting coming in from the left. Just if you can see the angle of the way I've got the light, you can see that it's set up to actually have her within that light source. So from the head to the toe, as you can see, she's completely lit up. Okay, this was shot on location as well. This was shot with two AD200s. If you see at the back, I had the AD200 in the same 65 centimeter octobox. At the front, I had an AD200 Pro as well. With the Broly box. This was actually a friend of mine that was shooting with me that day. That's his Broly box that we were using just to light up the front. Because it's a bigger light source to the 65 centimeter, I opted to use that on front. As you can see, it's lit up quite nice at the back, while the AD200 at the back was quite harsh on her right hand side. That was just to give her some rim light, to obviously separate her from the background, which was a dark source. As you can see, it's the wall. It's not being lit up. And just to separate her from the back. So you can see it's working pretty much as a hair light and then as a rim light. So that's pretty much just two AD200s that I've done this with. By the way, this was actually shot with a vintage 56mm. It was a 56mm f1.8 that I had that I shot. As you can see, a little bit of high-speed sync, 640 of a 640th of a second, and I managed to get a really good image. as you can see there. So just two AD200s, one on the front, one on the back, shot at 45 degrees, as you can see, to the subject, to give you a perfectly cross-lit image. This is another one that I've done. Just before I go into this one, I want to just check up quickly if there's anyone that would like to obviously ask me any questions. Let's see what questions we have in the comments. So if you are tuning in, if you just tuned in, just drop me a hello. You can say hi. You can tell me hi. Tell me where you're watching from. I'd like to know. So I've got Sibusiso here that's watching all the way from Pretoria. Hi, Sibusiso. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, any questions? Yeah, definitely Canon. It's definitely still the best light on the market. Yeah, I think because it's so compact, I think the price point as well. To be able to get 200 watts of light in a compact system like that, that's got so much of support and so much of attachments, it's crazy. It's in fact, there's as well as the the Godox AD200 attachments that we have. There's also a lot on the aftermarket that you can actually get that would work beautifully on the AD200. So it's actually quite nice because Godox was able to make it as such that it would fit almost anything. Okay, so yeah, and also because it's the AD200, you must remember now, as I said, it comes with it's a battery pack. It's not direct current, so if there's load shedding, I promise you, when you're at the venue and you're shooting and there's load shedding, you're the only person that has lights. There's many times that I find myself in that situation. So Eskom cannot get the better of me when it comes to my Godox lighting system. So it's all battery powered. It's all it all comes with lithium ion pack battery. So my AD200, I can do pretty much 4 to 5 shoots. I can do 4 to 5 shoots before I run out of battery, and obviously I need to charge it. But I do actually shoot back to back. Sometimes I do like 2 to 3 shoots per day on the weekend, and I charge it like once a week or so. Okay, Kenan was saying that he also likes the starter pack. Okay, is there any person with questions? Okay, we got Zephaniah. Zephaniah is watching from Kempton Park. Also an amazing photographer. Shout out, Zephaniah. We've got Brighton that's also watching from Cape Town. We've got my number one fan that's watching from the other room. She's like literally one wall away. Yeah, but so as I was saying, the AD200 is the price point that you get it at. It's amazing. You'll never get anything that's on the market that's as close to the AD200 in price and obviously ability. So just going back to obviously what I've planned for you, you can see the other images that I have. Just give me a second. So this was shot at Florida Road, the AD200 65 centimeter octobox. Light coming in from the left, as you can see, shot directly on her. This was also shot at high speed sync. So as you can see, I shot this at 1/5000th of a second. So because I'm shooting at f1.4, you must understand that it's going to be really, really bright. That's a lot of light that the camera is allowing in, or that the lens is allowing into the camera, onto the camera sensor, f1.4. And I shot this at high speed sync. As you can see, the distance from her. This was definitely shot at like maybe f1 power, one probably half power or almost full power. I may have shot this at half power plus 0.7. So lighting was really close to her. So that understanding, as I said, the inverse square law of lighting, understanding that the lighting intensity is, it intensifies the closer it is to the subject. So we were able to get the result that you see on the right there. So just with the XH1, 35mm f1.4, and this was a really stunning image that I managed to capture. It was a series that I did a while ago. I think it's like maybe a year and a half to 2 years ago. This was when I had the AD200. So this was something that I enjoyed. As you can see, I can bring in all of the background in the image. I'm getting some really nice bokeh because I'm shooting at high speed sync. So the AD200 is definitely capable to be used shooting at high speed sync or shooting at really high shutter speeds. So just understanding, as I said, technique is involved. So you have to be able to use the correct technique to light up your subject from head to toe and to be able to expose them correctly. Remember, exposing for the background, compensating for your light on the person itself, and then getting a good exposure that's blended. So it must look almost as if like you didn't use lighting on the subject. So just going to the next one. These are some images also that I've captured using the AD200. Sadly, at the time, I didn't do any behind the scenes. The one on the left, this was shot at a sunrise. This was pretty much at like maybe half past 6, 7 in the morning, just as the sun was already out. So the sun was already out. We had missed the sunrise entirely. So this was at a really intense light behind her. Shot this at 1/800th of a second, f2.8. The lighting was really close. It was on the right hand side. This was also used. I also used that 65cm softbox on this one, and it was on with the XH1 16-55. As I said, lighting from the right. Just asked her to lift the hat just enough so I could get that light on her face, and then obviously expose her and the rest of her body. Because I was so close in at the time, so I was able to obviously get that light perfectly. As you can see, the lighting under her chin, it isn't too intense because, as I said, so although it was a 65cm softbox, purely because I brought it in as close as possible, the light it increased. You understand? The size of the light increased, so I was able to get some really soft light on her. On the right hand side, we've got this was from when I hosted in Nhlanhla Villa Mnisi. So when he came down to Durban, we put together the shoot and we got some models, and I think this was the first time that he actually used the AD200. So he used my AD200 at the time, and shortly after he used my AD200, he went and bought an AD200. So I think he's got more than one AD200 now, and that's like his go-to light. He uses the AD200, and I think he's using the MS200 in MS2 or MS300 in studio. But Nhlanhla's work is absolutely amazing. So if you do get a chance, go and check him out. Go and watch his videos. Go and check his pictures as well. He's got some amazing images. But this was particularly shot at sunrise. High-speed sync as well. Brought in the AD200. If I do remember correctly, what I did with this one was I removed the front diffusion panel on the octobox. I brought it in as close as possible, so it was just one diffusion, just your inner diffusion, and the outer diffusion panel was removed. So I was able to increase the amount of intensity of the light coming in from the right. Shot this at f4.5 ISO 200 on the 16-55 XH1. As I said, 1/500th of a second. So this was a really nice shot that I managed to get. There's also on the left hand side here, both of these were also used, the AD200 just with the 65cm softbox. On the left, the picture on the left hand side of here, just to notify you, this was like really dark. So the light was actually going out. This was like in the evening, like not evening, it was the afternoon, late afternoon, like maybe it was like 5:30. No, what was 5:30? It was 6. So, and the sun was setting, like going down. So this was like in the thick part of the forest that we were in, and it was dark. It was getting really dark. So what I had to do was bump up my ISO. I bumped up my ISO to 1600. I shot at f1.4 because obviously I wanted to allow as much light in as possible, and 1/100th of a second. I lit the subject up from the right hand side, as you can see the lighting on her. And if I remember, the light was, I may have used that like 132 power, 132 power I used on this one. And I was able to get a shot like that. On the right hand side, this was broad daylight, just after two or so, just after two. This was broad daylight. I managed to get the shot as well using the XF 90mm. This was quite a distance away from the model, but if you can see by the telltale signs on her, the sun was actually in fact, this was like the late afternoon. Yeah, the sun was actually on the model's right hand side, so my left. So the sun was on the left hand side, and obviously cross lighting her from the right with the AD200. So lighting her from the right hand side with the AD200, and I was able to obviously get this image. These were other images also that I was able to get. Sorry, man. So if you see on, okay, so the one on the left here, that was Bronny that I shot. This was sunrise. The sun just came out, as you can see. 640th of a second, f2.8, ISO 400. This at the time was actually on the newly launched XS10, 16 to 55, and managed to get some really nice pictures here. So what I did on this one was I actually had to compact and put quite a few of sandbags on the stand because it was actually like almost in the water. Almost in the water, and we managed to get the shot. Sorry, man, guys, I need to clear my throat. I think it's the dust. So on the right-hand side, you can see this was also broad daylight. I actually used the 80, if I remember, yeah, this was actually two of the AD200. So on the right-hand side, I used two of the AD200s. I used the ADB2 bracket, and I lit her up coming in from the right. So I lit her up from the right. The light the shadow that you see that's on her from the left, that there is from the sunlight. So I lit her up from the right, but the sunlight was actually on my left. And we got this at f 7.5 and 250th of a second. Okay, so okay, so as I was trying to show you, and in fact, what I did show you, the AD200 is a very, very capable light. So you can light up most of the scenarios that you need. Definitely relevant for 2023. So in fact, there is still no response. There's no other light on the market that can still compare with the versatility, the power, and the price point that the AD200 offers. So it's amazing, absolutely amazing. There's so many attachments that are for them, for these lights. There's definitely a lot of these on the market. There's so much of photographers that use and swear by this light. Some of them actually was messaging me earlier today telling me how they're using the AD200 over the AD600. So I believe obviously that each product from Godox SA and from any other manufacturers, but I'm talking about Godox SA now. So each of these products all have a specific purpose that you can use these lights for. So with your AD200, compact strobe, 200 watts of power with quite a few attachments, very easy to set up, very easy to obviously get these attachments, put them on. You can use this in almost every scenario. So you can use it on location. You can use it for your, like if you want to light up your products, or if you want to light up maybe a studio, if you want to use it in a hall for like your weddings, for wedding shoots. If you need more power, you can pack two of these together. You can get some really, really stunning images with the AD200. The AD200 itself has not run out. It's not gone out. It's still very relevant and usable for today. Likewise, even with its successor, the AD200Pro, amazing lights. Both of them are really amazing lights. You can still get them at Godox SA. So you can actually just check out the Godox SA page website and just check up for them, because you can easily get them. But I would definitely say, if you are looking, or if you are in the market for a good strobe, a really good strobe, look at the AD200. It's where I started. And in fact, I'm still there. So as much as I started on the AD200, and now I do have the AD600 and stuff like that, but in fact, I still want to get a few more AD200s for what I use it for. So we've got James. James is tuning in from Boxburg. Shout out, James. Thank you for tuning in. We've got, how do I say your name? Mish, watching from Mpumalanga. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sean Duplessis. Sean, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in for another episode, all the way from El Dorado Park. We've got Carl Daniels, also an amazing photographer. Carl actually swears by the AD300. He loves the AD200Pro. Check out his work. He's got some amazing work. If there's anybody that's got any questions, please ask me in the comments. I'm going to be closing it up shortly, so I've reached obviously the end of my live. So yeah, if you've got any questions, please ask me. I will obviously answer it to the best of my ability. We've got Praveen that's watching from Lenasia. Thank you, Praveen, for watching. And definitely, I do need water. I did tell myself that I need to actually get myself some water and have it over here, but I can't leave now, so I'm actually busy with you guys. Yeah, Subisiso, thank you for joining in, guys. Thank you for watching. As I said, the AD200 is definitely a light that's not run out. It's not run its course. Okay, so I've got someone asking a question. We've got Lasagna. Can the AD200 be used with a beauty dish, and how much does a beauty dish cover? Okay, so I do use the AD200 with a beauty dish. I've got the 56, I think it's 55 centimeter, sorry. I've got the 55 centimeter beauty dish that I use with my AD200. The reason why I use the 55 centimeter beauty dish, and when I do use it, is more on location. Like if I'm doing like your family shoots and stuff like that, like a family of up to like maybe 3-4, I use the beauty dish. I take it out obviously, and the reason why I use it is when I'm using it on the coast, as windy as it gets, like when you're using a big softbox, and if I'm not taking an assistant, there's so much of a chance for that light actually tippling over and falling. So what I do use is a beauty dish in that case. So the beauty dish actually deflects the wind so much easier than your normal softbox, and it's not so much prone to actually falling over. So I've got two beauty dishes. I think I've got the 35 centimeter and I've got the 55 centimeter that I use. And so, as I said before, if you got the S2 bracket or even the Godox S bracket, you can actually put your AD200 inside that bracket. It's a Bowen's mount on the front, the same as this. So it's Bowen's mount, the same as this. And from there, you can actually just clip your Bowen's mount beauty dish. You can clip it onto there and obviously use that with your softbox, with your AD200. As I said, if you're going to be using the AD200 inside of an attachment or inside of a modifier, I would suggest you use the bare bulb flash so you can maximize light. Okay, so we've got Bridget that's also watching from Durban. Thank you, Bridget, for watching. I hope you're going to be using your AD200 more often. She's also recently bought an AD200, but amazing light. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sure there's no other questions that I've missed out over here. If I'm just checking quickly. Okay, you are asking about, sorry, Zephaniah, you asked the previous image, which you used an AD200 with a small softbox at 3200. Was it with a double or single diffusion? Okay, the one at 3200, that was definitely a single diffusion, and because of the light at the time. No, sorry, it was double diffusion, and obviously I brought in the light as close to the subject as possible. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for getting to grips with the AD200. There's definitely so much that this light can be used for. I didn't touch on everything, so I'm gonna definitely have another one sometime soon where I'll discuss how I use the AD200 in a venue setting. Like for example, if I'm doing a wedding and a wedding reception. So I can show you exactly how I use the lighting and more than one AD200. How I use my V1 to control those lights. I will show you a full demonstration on how I do that, and share more on how I use my AD200. But definitely, if you're looking to obviously get the 82, if you're looking to get a strobe, you rather save up that little bit more and get the AD200. It's definitely worth your while. If you want to get it at a steal, I would suggest go to Godox SA. Use my discount code. It's Godox Sherwin. Just punch it in, activate the coupon, and you will get an awesome discount on that deal. So go for it. Check it out. Let me know. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. This is definitely the first episode of Getting to Grips. There's going to be many more. It will be with obviously the other brand ambassadors where they will obviously showcase the different products and how they use it. So I was able to start off with the first one and show you the AD200. Do tune in this Friday. I'm going to be interviewing on F-Stop Live. I'm going to be interviewing awesome creator. He goes by the name of Joel the Creator, Joel Mundy. He's an amazing photographer, fashion photographer. He does some really, really amazing stuff. He's based in Durban as well. So tune in on Friday at 7 sharp, and you will get to see the interview with him. So if you didn't get a chance to watch, or if you're going to be watching this here, obviously off YouTube and Facebook, do drop us a like, share it, drop us a comment. If you want to ask a question, you can still ask the question, and one of us maybe at Godox SA will be able to attend to that. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.